If you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through October 1st is spend $50, get one beef stew free, limit of one. Also, $1 off all drinks. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we are out of the gate for September with a very special GMC sales offer. We must move out all new GMC truck inventory fast. So right now at Koppel, we are offering true GM supplier pricing for everyone. Yes, you heard right. True GM supplier pricing on all GMC Sierras. That's over $12,000 off on select models. That's GM supplier pricing, $12,000 off on Sierras. Do not wait. Stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier Sea-Doo dealership. Score up to $300 off or a free 2-year warranty on 2024 Sea-Doo Sparks and $500 off or a free 2-year warranty on all other brand new 2024 Sea-Doos. Rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of September. On or off-road, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered with a large selection of motorcycles and watercraft in stock at their new 27th and I-80 location. Hurry in, the clock is running down.
What's the radon level at your home? Don't know? Find out with a call to Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Make sure your home is safe with a radon check from Bryant. If you've already tested, ask Bryant for a free estimate for mitigation. Once completed, you'll get a report showing how much safer your home is. When it comes to radon, call Bryant 467-1111 for testing and mitigation. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call Liberty Law Group at 877-42-LIBERTY. Advocates you need, trial attorneys you can trust. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop! Woohoo!
Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine. It will be breezy and warm, napping high around 90. Tonight, clear skies, and it will be breezy, low around 47. And tomorrow, we'll see lots of sunshine with cooler temperatures, napping high expected around 71. Meteorologist Kyle Carriker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome, everybody, into the Adam Carriker Show. I about said Adam Carriker on the ticket, but now it's the Adam Carriker Show, the dawn of a new era. And yes, our family was under siege from basically the frickin' plague this weekend. I lost 5 pounds, and I was telling Jake, I'll spare you the details, and you're welcome for that. But I lost 5 pounds, and I was trying to get down to 270. I was 303 when I first measured myself on June 1st. Got down to 280, and I was pretty happy losing 23 pounds. Got a bonus 5 this weekend, not the atypical way to do it, but I'll take it. I'm down to 275, and I got 5 more to go. So I was telling Jake, hey, there's always a silver lining. All right, you have a rough weekend. We're 8 for 8 with people in our house getting sick, but 5 of us are back to fairly normal. 3 of my kids are still, hoarding around my house and are pretending to be sick. No, they actually don't look very good at all, but I wish them a speedy recovery. And we're getting back to full strength at the Carriker house, but we've got Nebraska football to talk about, Matt Rhule's press conference to react to, and the top games from college football across the nation to talk about, including the game of the year so far, Alabama versus Georgia. It was 28-0, 37 at half. Alabama was beating Georgia. And at one point in the fourth quarter, for a whole 13 seconds, Georgia actually came back and led 34-33. That was the game of the year. But we're going to get to that, along with reacting to Matt Rhule's press conference at the end of the show. Of course, we're going to start with the only team that really matters in America, and that's the Nebraska Cornhuskers football team. Talking about Purdue, talking about what is the ceiling of this team? What is the floor of this team? I have no idea what in the blue hell to make of this team. You saw in the last 18 minutes of the game, 20 minutes of the game, about 5 minutes to go left in the third quarter in the last 15 minutes against Purdue. You saw what this team is capable of. We played really bad football for the first 40 minutes of the game, and we ended up winning by 18 points. Now, part of that is bad Purdue. Part of that is also what Nebraska is capable of. You also saw what Nebraska is capable of in the not great direction the first 40 minutes. And if we're not playing Purdue, do we get away with that? Now, it's our first road game. It's our first morning game. It's only our second non-night game. So you had all these factors coming into play, AKA excuses, but they are things that play a role when you're talking about college kids, NIL, transfer portal, all these things. I have no problem holding these college players to a higher standard than ever because they're getting paid more than ever. But at the end of the day, they're still kids who are learning how to become men. That is the process when you get on campus and you're going to play any type of sport. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, volleyball, basketball, football, golf, track, rifle. It doesn't matter. The process of going from a young man, young woman, all the way to growing up by the time you're done with college, especially if you're one of those kids that's been there 4 to 5 years. It's a maturing process, and I have no problem holding them to a higher standard, like I said, because they're making more than they've ever made. But at the end of the day, they're still kids, and these are factors that play in to a degree. Real quick, as always, you can check out the Carriker Chronicles on YouTube, carrikerchronicles.com as well. All things 93.7 The Ticket at theticketfm.com. All right, let's take a look back at Nebraska versus Purdue. More than doubled them in first downs. The Huskers had 25. The Boilermakers had 12. Third downs. This is the one area where they vastly outplayed us. All right. Third down efficiency. Nebraska only converted 1 third down on the entire day. Happened to be for a touchdown to Jamal Banks from Dylan Rhule, which gave us the lead 7-3. We were 1 of 8 on third downs for the day. Purdue was actually 7 of 15. All right. So we got to get better defensively and getting other teams off the field. This is something that's plagued us really since Northern Iowa. Just couldn't get off the field. That was really the only thing that Purdue kind of was able to do to a degree. It's why the time of possession was basically half and half, 50-50. Otherwise, this isn't even close at all at any point in the game. But they were 7 of 15 on third downs. Total yards, we had 419. They had 224. They really only got over 200 yards in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, their touchdown drive that they had, the Purdue Boilermakers. Passing, we had 257. They had 174. All right. We're averaging 270 pass yards a game, which is 45th in the country. We're averaging 145 rush yards a game, which is 88th in the country. All right. And the Black Shirts have 16 sacks on the season, which is tied for 8th in America as well. With the rushing yards, it's a bit skewed. And I talk about this on the Chronicles that'll go out on Tuesday. Our 4 running backs combined actually only had 84 rushing yards. All right, we had 161 on the day. Ja'Cory Barney had 66 of those. He had 39%. Basically, 40% of our rushing yards came from a wide receiver on sweeps. He had 4 carries, 66 yards, the long rushing touchdown, or long rush of the day, which was 31 yards and a touchdown. We can't be relying on a receiver and sweep plays to be our leading rusher and getting 40% of our rush yards. Our 4 running backs combined had 84 yards rushing and averaged 3.5 yards per carry. Now, is that on the running backs? Not to a degree, I guess. The offensive line is not as physical this year as they were last year. Okay, a couple of years ago, we weren't very physical in the run game at all. Last year, Donovan Rhiule's first year as the offensive line coach. Last year, we couldn't throw the ball, but we were the number 2 rushing team in the entire Big Ten Conference because we were physical at run blocking. Our quarterbacks didn't really have anybody to throw to, and they didn't have a whole lot of time because our offensive line didn't pass block very well, and our pass game was non-existent a year ago. The offensive line is much improved in pass protection. We haven't played any elite pass rushers yet, but so far it's been much improved. But the run blocking has taken a noticeable step backwards. It's hard to be good at everything. Steph Curry, great three-point shooter. Not so great down in the paint. His size has something to do with that. Not known for his defense. You look at some of the other guys. There aren't many guys who are well-rounded, whether you like LeBron James or not, who are as well-rounded as he is. There aren't many guys who are physical freaks like him either. You look back through the years, Karl Malone, MVP of the league, great down low power forward, not known for his defense, mostly offensive player. Okay, it's hard to be well-rounded, but what you can't have is one area go up and the other area drop significantly. Our pass protection has gone up. We've also got wide receivers who are getting open sooner. We have a trigger man back there who's much better at getting rid of the ball, making proper reads quickly as well. So that helps the offensive line. And when we face some better pass rushers as the season goes along, we'll learn more about them pass protection-wise. But what stood out to me is we are not as physical up front. There is no excuse not to run the ball against Purdue. They were 131st in the country out of 133 teams when it came to rush defense coming into Saturday. And we struggled to run the ball between the tackles. We've got to get better at that. Again, year 1 under Donovan Rhule, we didn't run the ball well as the offensive line coach. Year 2, Matt Rhule's first year as the head coach. But year 2 under Donovan Rhule, we ran the ball much better. Pass protection was atrocious. This year, pass protection is better, but we've taken a step back in being physical at the point of attack to the point where we had to rely on a receiver to be our leading rusher last Saturday. And yes, it's been talked about a ton. Emmett Johnson should be our starting running back. He wasn't even part of the 1-2. Right, it was Dante Dowdell and Ramir Johnson. And I just finished chatting about it with Vershawn and T. Farley at the end of their show. Emmett is our best all-around back. A year ago, he only gets to play because our top 3 backs get hurt. He was number 4 on the depth chart. He was a freshman, stepped in, and he was really our best running back the whole season, regardless of injuries. Now he's come in and he's done it again this year. Not as blatantly obvious because he hasn't gotten as many carries. We've had games where he hasn't gotten a single carry, which is just crazy to me. He's our most well-rounded back. And when you can't look at a player and be like, well, this guy's really good at that, it's really easy to overlook somebody. All right. Frankly, Dante's a good player, Dowdell. But I haven't really understood the whole year why he's gotten the majority of the carries. Going into our last game, he had 51 carries by himself, and our other 3 running backs combined at 50. I didn't really understand it. I'm like, oh, the coaches are seeing something that I'm not seeing. He's going to have a breakout game. And to be clear, he's a good player. I'm not bashing him in any way, shape, or form. But I wasn't buying into the aspect that he was clearly our number 1 back. Like he was so much better that he deserved more carries than everybody else combined. I didn't buy into that. I also couldn't understand why Emmett wasn't getting more carries. Emmett Johnson is not by far and away our best running back. It's not by far and away. It's not leaps and bounds. But all year, I've kind of been waiting to see what Dante could do. Otherwise, why is he getting all these carries? And when's Emmett going to get more carries? Those were the two things I kept watching for. And I always felt like Rahmir has never really gotten a true shot since he's gotten here. I think he started versus Rutgers like 18 years ago, because that's how long players play in college football now. But he had like one start at Rutgers in Piscataway. I want to say it was 2020, the COVID season. And he played really well. It's not that these guys don't have ability. Part of it is it's hard to get into the rhythm of a game if you're only getting a sporadic amount of carries. You look at the carries from our last game. Emmett had 8. Dante had 9. All right, Rahmir had 5. Gabe Ervin had 1, which was a 4-yard, not a 4-yard touchdown run. I thought he had a touchdown. Guess not. But I'm like, how do you get into the rhythm of a game? How do you get warmed up? How do you get lathered up? Like, yes, it's great to have a rotation. It's great to keep guys fresh. As a D lineman, I understand that. No position on the entire team rotates as much as defensive line. The only other position that even kind of sort of somewhat comes close is running back at times. And it depends on your team. It depends on who the running backs are. But if I'm playing like 5, 10 snaps a game, or in this case, I'm getting 8 carries, 9 carries, 5 carries, 1 carry, how in the world am I supposed to get into the rhythm of the game? How am I supposed to stay lathered up? I'm spending my entire time just trying not to get cold and stay loose on the sidelines, so to speak. I think it's time that Emmett Johnson is our starting running back. Dante Dowdell should be number 2, short yardage goal line. If you want to use Rahmir as a third down back, that's fine. I don't think it's necessary. And again, I talk about this elsewhere, but I would love to see Rahmir and Ja'Cory Barney as our 2 returners. That's what I'd like to see. I don't know if Jalen Lloyd struggles to catch punts. Punts do funny things in the air. They're much more challenging to catch than a kickoff. But I'd like to see Jalen Lloyd with his speed back there as well. Those should be our 3 returners. We're averaging 5 yards per punt return right now. That is not acceptable. That is not good. There's a lot of things on special teams that aren't great. And I know I've come out a little bit harsh. Nebraska wins, by the way. Okay. They win the game 28-10. And it's one of those things where we're 4-1. You look at our record over the past few years after 5 games. We're talking 2-3, 2-3, 1-4. All right, so we're in as good a spot as we've been after 5 games for about half a decade. Nebraska plays an ugly game and wins by 18 points. When's the last time you could say that? So there's a lot of positives to be taken from this. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer or uber negative. For me, I think I'm projecting forward, which you don't normally do on a Monday, but I'm projecting towards Rutgers. It's going to be a close game. I'm projecting towards Indiana after the bye week. This is a team that scored 42, 52, 72, and 42 points in their last 4 games. They're an explosive team. Now, have they played anybody? No, not really. They did drop 42 in Pasadena on UCLA, and we just got done talking about how challenging UCLA's schedule is. I still don't think UCLA is going to be good. Nobody's going to be a pushover that we're going to play the rest of the year. Certainly not Rutgers, certainly not Indiana. Not even UCLA, which may be seen as the weakest team out of our last 7 opponents. Nobody's going to be a pushover. Welcome to the Big Ten, the new Big Ten especially. For me, we found a way to win. We played ugly and we won by 18 points and easily covered the spread on the road. And sometimes early morning games can be a problem. I'm not a morning person. I'm not. I'm that person that 6 o'clock rolls around, I'm tired, 10 o'clock rolls around, and I've got my second win, and I don't want to go to bed till 2 a.m. I've been that way since college. I really don't like to get up before 10. I've got 6 kids, though. I ain't making it past 6:30, so I've gotten used to that. But I'm not a morning person. My dad would tell me, if it's a morning game, Adam, I know it's going to take you a while to wake up. If it's an afternoon, evening game, you're going to come out, roar, and play one. I get that. I relate to all of that. I understand all that. I'm glad we woke up the last 20 minutes of the game, and we showed what we're capable of. Right, let me put a button on a couple of thoughts here. We won the turnover battle again. Nebraska, points off turnovers this year, 31. Our opponents, 0. Could you imagine that last year? How much of an impact and a difference would that have made last year? So Nebraska's doing a lot of good things. We've improved in a lot of areas. I think for me, what I see is our quarterback play needed to improve this year. It's better. Our turnover margin needed to improve this year. It's better. Our pass protection, oh my God, it needed to improve this year. It's better. But our run blocking has suffered in its case. Our defense played better versus Purdue, but has not been consistent the way it was the year before. Our tackling isn't as effective as it was the year before. So in areas where we could have just stayed the same, not even gotten better, and just improved in our areas of perceived quote-unquote weakness, and well, first of all, we'd be 5-0 right now. But Illinois, actually, I know they lost by 2 scores to Penn State, but they went in and played well. That was a competitive game until late in the game. That actually raised Illinois. I know they lost 21-7. That actually raised Illinois stock in my mind. Penn State got a really late touchdown. Otherwise, it was 14-7. It was 7-7 at halftime. Illinois is a good football team. And we should have won that game. Just imagine had we stayed the equivalent to, in a lot of the areas that I pointed out that we've gone a little bit backwards in so far this year. We can get back to where we were last year at some point this year, hopefully sooner rather than later. But imagine had we just stayed the equivalent to in the run game. Had we just stayed equivalent to on defense. Had we just, and again, the black shirts, they stepped up and played well Saturday. They needed, thank God they did, because we needed them in this particular game. And then we just improved quarterback play, just improved the pass protection, took care of the ball better. Like, the floor and the ceiling of this Nebraska team is exciting and terrifying all at once if you're a Husker fan. We showed all in one game why some people thought before the season we'd win 8 games, 9 games. I didn't hear a lot of people with, reasonable thoughts saying 10 or more, but 8 or 9. And then you see why some people are like, I don't know if we're going to make a bowl game. All in the same freaking game. You saw it all in the same game versus Purdue. We have the talent and the potential to play with everybody on the rest of our schedule. You heard me right. To play with and be competitive with everybody on our schedule. There's been years where we went up to Columbus and lost by 5 points, and we weren't as good as we are this year. Our final record won't be as good as it is this year. I'm not saying we're going to do that because I don't know what to make of this team. That's the crazy part. I don't know what the ceiling is. I don't know what the floor is. Well, the ceiling's like 9 or 10 wins, 8 wins. The floor is hopefully 6-6. Again, Matt Rhule stood across from me, looked at me at Big Ten Media Day, said, if we don't go to a bowl game, we got real problems. I'd agree with that. Somewhere between 6-6, 9-3. That's the floor. That's the ceiling. As you look at Nebraska up until now, as you look at our opponents that are remaining on the schedule, our next 3 opponents are combined 12-0. None of them have played anybody, including Ohio State. So we're going to learn more about the Huskers and these next 3 opponents. Rutgers from Piscataway, Indiana, Bloomington, Ohio State, Columbus. They're all going to learn, especially our next 2 opponents, Rutgers and Indiana. They're going to learn a lot more about themselves when they play us. It's going to be an interesting, especially the next 2 games, 2 weeks of football for Nebraska. The ceiling, I mean, how do you play that bad and win by 18 points when you sleptwalk through the first 40 minutes of the game on the road? Yeah, we could win 9 games. Oh, look at the first 40 minutes, Adam. Oh, my God, I don't know. Yeah, we could be 6-6. I mean, that's crazy to me that that's the floor and that's the ceiling, and we're 5 games in. Normally, you say things like that in June and July when you haven't seen a single snap. This team is exciting and terrifying to watch, and I'm here for all of it, by the way. But they're exciting and terrifying to watch all at the same time. I don't know what to make of this team. It's fun, and it's terrifying all at the same time. I don't know what else to say about that. A couple of final thoughts, and we're going to go to break. When we come back from break, we're going to react to Matt Rhule's press conference, and or, depending on the order, depending if Rhule is done talking with his press conference or not, we're going to react to some of the top college football games from this past weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, Colorado's 4-1. I won't point out who the one is in that 4-1, but Colorado's 4-1 right now. Georgia, Bama. Man, that was a great game. Part of me wanted them both to lose, but knowing that's not possible, it was just a great game. The game of the year so far. All right, final thoughts. Nebraska, Purdue. The black shirts played a lot better. The black shirts are the unit where there's the least amount of question marks because there's the most amount of experience. There's the most amount of tenure. There's the most amount of upperclassmen starters. I mean, you look at this team as a whole, though. Our offensive line, I know Micah is gone. I know Turner's hurt. But Latufsky has started a bunch of games. So other than Gunnar Gatula, we got a bunch of upperclassmen who've started roughly 8 million games. Our 2 starting wide receivers are both seniors. Jamal Banks, Isaiah Nayor. Thomas Fedoni, Nate Berkshire, both started multiple games in their career here at Nebraska. A bunch of games between them. Our most inexperienced guy is the one guy we can count on the most right now, and that's true freshman Dylan Rhule. We have a bunch of running backs with a bunch of experience. Emmett started a bunch of games. Emmett's been here for roughly 84 years, like I mentioned earlier. Right, Gabe Ervin, even though he's not playing a bunch, he is still the first true freshman in the history of Nebraska football. Think about all the great running backs to come through Husker football. The first true freshman in the history of Nebraska football to start his first game at running back. Dante Dowdell is a highly thought of guy as well. He's probably the least experienced out of all the backs. And he's the guy been getting most of the carries up until Saturday. And our defense is littered with juniors and seniors and returning guys. So to me, it's kind of crazy that there's so much unpredictability with such a veteran team. I'm not even knocking them for it. I'm just making an observation. It's interesting to me. Of all those guys, the guys that we can count on the most is the teenager. That's crazy to me. Again, that's not bad. That's not good. That's just my observation. It is what it is, as my former teammate used to say, Greg Austin. He said that all the time, by the way. It is what it is. Well, you're right. Nebraska finds a way to win on the road. We're at 4-1, the best record we've had after 5 games in the past half a decade. We're going to learn a lot more about this team this weekend versus Rutgers. We got a bye week, which I like very much, before we head to Bloomington to take on Indiana. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Adam Carriker Show, the show that gives you unique insights, unbridled honesty, and producer Jake and I are going to have a whole lot of fun in the process. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Man City tied Newcastle 1 apiece, Chelsea beat Brighton 4-2, and then Liverpool beat Wolves 2-1 to stay atop the week. On Sunday, Ipswich Town tied Aston Villa 2-2, and then Tottenham defeated Man United 3-0. You can catch all these matches and more at the McKinney's Irish Pub, your headquarters in Lincoln for English Premier League soccer at 8th and P.
Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Landmark Implement helps you put dirt in its place with increased accuracy and greater speed thanks to the John Deere Smart Grade. This fully integrated 3D grade control system boosts job site productivity and reduces labor costs with fewer passes and less wasted material, meaning more bids won and higher margins. No masts, no cables, just clear views of the job site. Visit your local Landmark Implement today and discover the profit-boosting power of the Smart Grade and experience the Landmark difference.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Hey guys, it's your girl Jordan from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. As you gear up for game day this season, don't forget the MVP in your life. Whether it's a ruby bracelet to show off her team spirit or a timeless Heartland diamond that shines from across the room, we've got the perfect play. Our experts at Sartor Heyman are here to help you make the winning move. Until next time, happy shopping, guys.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Lease a 2024 Ford F-150 for $437 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1004120, 437 per month, lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, 5,500 dual signing, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 9/30/2024. See dealer for details.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call Liberty Law Group at 877-42-LIBERTY. Advocates you need, trial attorneys you can trust. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
What's the radon level at your home? Don't know? Find out with a call to Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Make sure your home is safe with a radon check from Bryant. If you've already tested, ask Bryant for a free estimate for mitigation. Once completed, you'll get a report showing how much safer your home is. When it comes to radon, call Bryant 467-1111 for testing and mitigation. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show, the show that gives you unique insights, unbridled honesty, and producer Jake and I are going to have a whole lot of fun in the process. Now, during commercial break, Jake and I were chatting about Ed Foley and just the phenomenal job that he's been doing. I can't even be sarcastic about it. I can't believe how bad our special teams are. Like, this is the only, and Ed Foley's done it for a long time. This is a man with a resume that would impress you. I'm not sitting here saying he's a bad football coach. I'm saying he's the special teams coach, and our special teams are bad, and it doesn't add up. Jake, how, before we get to the 8 football games, and we're going to go through quickly all 8 of these games from this past weekend, including Florida State. I mean, should they just forfeit the rest of the year? Like, seriously. But we'll get to that in a second. How in the world, when this is the only thing you do, and you've got the resume that Ed Foley does, can our special teams be this bad, Jake?
I don't know. It's obviously hard to watch. It's not just like one guy on the special teams unit. The blocking's poor. The
coverage.
pitch man, coverage downfield. It's really tough, and it's crazy. The crazy thing is that it's been 10 years of this. We all remember Bruce Reed with Mike Riley. The Scott Frost era special teams was nothing to write home about, and it just seems to be here lingering in Lincoln. I don't know what it is.
I'm pretty sure he sits right in this seat.
That's right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the guy that's come in and fixed this issue before, and the only guy who's done really any good at special teams coaching and writing the ship on special teams, I'm pretty sure he sits right in this seat from 6 to 8 a.m. every morning here on The Ticket. Now, because I work for The Ticket, and his wife is an incredibly special lady who helped my family and I find our home. Shout out to Laura Bush. If you're looking for a house, no better realtor in all of Lincoln, go find her. I don't want them to call Bush because I don't want Bill Bush to go anywhere because he's doing a phenomenal job from 6 to 8 a.m. with the morning show. Early break, Jake Sorensen, Steve Sipple, who, by the way, are both phenomenal. But, man, I feel like our football team needs it. Is there anybody else who can come in and right the ship on special teams? Jake, you get thoughts on this?
Bo Pelini did pretty good that one time. Maybe he could be kind of like the Doc Sadler of Nebraska basketball, come back as an assistant.
Did you say Bo Pelini did pretty good that one time?
Well, remember there was one year he specifically took over for special teams. Might have been more DeMornay than anything, but it's still, a big improvement.
We had one guy do something one time. All right. All right, let's move on to, we'll talk more about special teams. And actually, I want to chat a little bit of Nebraska volleyball on tomorrow's show as well. They just keep, they swept USC like it was nothing. They just keep kicking the crap out of ranked teams after ranked team after ranked team. Allie Battenhorst, hey, great to see you in Lincoln. Here's a little tush-kush on the way out, and I mean that with respect. It was actually kind of cool. There was a video of her meeting up with all her former teammates the day before the match, and that was cool to see. But, man, they just spanked USC, number 20 in the country, swept them, sent them out the door, didn't think twice about it. We got to show Nebraska volleyball just a smidge to a whole lot more love here. But let's talk about some of the football games from this past weekend. All right, Alabama versus Georgia, the game of the year. Alabama jumps out 28-0, and I'm watching this game, and I'm watching Jalen Milroe just run all over them. And, again, I feel like I'm watching the best, and stay with me when I say this, the best middle school team play the worst middle school team, because a lot of times your best athlete goes a quarterback, and they just run all over the place, and it looks like the other team just has no shot. And I'm like, but wait, this isn't middle school. This is Alabama, and this is Georgia. Like, how can Georgia look like they have no answers whatsoever? It was mind-blowing to me. It was interesting, though, because I'm watching Kirby Smart, and this may be the best coaching job he's ever done. He's 1-6 versus Alabama now. And even the one time they beat Alabama, I don't want to take, and that was for a national title. I don't want to take it away from them. But they lost to Alabama in the SEC title game. Alabama had 2 elite receivers that year. One of them was already out for the national title game. The other one's named Jamison Williams. And he was destroying Georgia in that game. And then he got hurt. And Georgia ended up winning that game, coming back from behind the moment Jamison Williams went out. Basically, Alabama's 2 top receivers are out. So, yes, Georgia won that game and won for the national title. But Kirby Smart is yet to beat a at full speed, at full strength Alabama team. And Kirby Smart is the best coach in college football right now. Kalen DeBoer is going to be pretty good, though. All he does is win everywhere he goes. I mean, my goodness gracious. Now, in all fairness, if you look at the talent composite rankings, the team with the most talent in the country, despite all the transfers after Nick Saban retired, is Alabama. According to these talent composite rankings, they're still number 1. Imagine, I mean, they had multiple offensive linemen, their safety left. They had a lot of these guys are starting at other Big Ten SEC schools. Imagine had they stayed. Number 2 is Georgia, by the way. Top 2 most talented teams according to these talent composite rankings. Shout out and credit to Georgia. 28-0 at one point, 30-7 at halftime. And they fought all the way back. I don't care. You can argue Alabama let down. Oh, yeah. Okay. Georgia looked a little wide-eyed in the beginning of the game. One team came out ready to play. The other team came out looking around, in my opinion. I don't know how Georgia does that with all the big games they played in the past few years, including back-to-back national titles, 2 out of the past 3 years. They fought back. They had almost 400 yards of offense in the second half versus Alabama. And they actually led 34-33. It lasted a whole 13 seconds because Alabama has this guy, this 17-year-old named Jamison Williams, who should be honestly a junior, maybe a senior in high school. And he's out there playing like the number 1 overall pick in the draft, except he's still got 2 more years in college football. So enjoy that, SEC teams, as you go against them. But this was a great game. It was shocking the beginning of the game. It was Georgia got my respect, and Carson Beck, who threw 3 first-half interceptions, threw for nearly 350 yards in the second half and looked fearless. Looked fearless in the second half. Also, the secondary play on both sides was just atrocious. Just like, wow. Alabama's got a ton of true freshmen back there. That's the weakness of their team. Coming into this game, Georgia's weakness was their D-line. Alabama's strength was their O-line. All right, Alabama's weakness is their secondary. Not lack of talent, but true freshmen. Georgia didn't have any pass catchers that had stood out this year. And so I picked Alabama simply because Georgia's weakness, their D-line, fed into Alabama's strength, which was their O-line. And it showed early on. Whereas Alabama's weakness, the secondary, didn't necessarily feed into Georgia's strength. Okay, because Georgia has good pass catchers, but they don't have anybody that's elite like they've had in recent years. They probably have more depth at wide receiver, tight end, pass catching wise, but they don't have anybody that scares the crap out of you. All right, great game. Alabama ends up winning 41-34. Briefly, we have a new number 1 team in the country. It's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Texas, I'm heartbroken over this, falls to number 2. Alabama, Texas. Number 3, Ohio State. Number 4, Tennessee. Number 5, Georgia. Number 6, Oregon. 7 is Penn State. 8's Miami. Should Miami have won that game?
Ooh, tough call. I don't think so. I think they should have went with the call on the field. I'd say.
So what I said, so for those who didn't see it, Virginia Tech goes into Miami, really outplays them for most of the game. Miami's got the lead. Virginia Tech throws the ball into the end zone at the end of the game. I have this right. Virginia Tech had the ball, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And essentially, Virginia Tech had basically caught the ball. Miami thought that they had intercepted. I have this all correct, right? It was so many days ago. I'm a little fuzzy. I've watched so much football. Okay.
Yeah.
And basically the refs said it was a touchdown, which meant Virginia Tech had caught the ball and won the game, although Miami players were running around celebrating because they've never been known for doing that. They do like this 20-minute replay review, which is fine. The game's on the line. This literally dictates the end of the game. I'm cool with the amount of time. Let's get the call right. And my wife's sitting there and she's like, what would you say? I said, I don't know how you can overturn it. If they say it's an interception, I don't know how you overturn it. If they say it's a catch, I don't know how you overturn it. You got to go with the call on the field. I don't know how you overturn. And they overturned it in favor of Miami, but it was the ACC replay crew. If I'm the ACC, I'm looking, well, Florida State's god-awful. This team's god-awful. Clemson might not be god-awful, but they lost 34-3 to Georgia. We got to have Miami win. Now, I don't know if this is what happened, but I buy into conspiracy theories. I don't laugh at them most of the time. I bet the tiebreaker in that ACC replay office was, we need Miami to win this game. Do you buy into that, or am I just a conspiracy theorist?
Well, I don't. There's just been so many bad officiating all across college football that it's hard to
Putting
really
it mildly.
it's hard to say that would be the case. I'll say this: the ACC and the Big 12 getting a first round bye. Something needs to be fixed about the playoffs already.
It's why Miami needed to win. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's why Miami needed to win this game. Personally, for the first time in my life, I was actually rooting for Miami because the ACC is so awful. I don't want some 9-3 ACC team getting a first round bye. I don't know if Miami deserves a first round bye, but at least their record can be like 11-1, and it gives the appearance of maybe they should deserve it or something like that. All right, so Alabama gets the win over Georgia. Miami gets the comeback win over Va Tech. Penn State, Illinois. This was a game that was 7-7 at halftime. Illinois played well. They fought. This was competitive. It was 14-7 going into the fourth quarter. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, but Penn State got that last-minute touchdown to make it 21-7. Until then, and admittedly, this is when my family started to get sick, so I didn't get to see the whole end of this game. So maybe the last 7 minutes or whatever is different than what I believe it was. But I believe Penn State got a last-second touchdown to make it 21-7, which makes the score look a little bit wider than the actual game was. I was impressed by the way Illinois went in and competed. I'm sure they're not happy about the loss. I'm sure they're not happy about losing by 14 points. But Illinois actually raised their stock like just a smidgen in my eyes. They definitely didn't go down. All right, you look at Notre Dame. They had 280 yards of total offense. Louisville outgained them by over 100 yards, had 8 more first downs. Yet Notre Dame won. Here's the deal. Does it matter what Notre Dame does the rest of this year? Or is all anybody going to see is that they lost to Northern Illinois at home? Does it matter, Jake? If they go 11-1, does it matter?
Well, I think it matters. I mean, I think they'll get the playoffs at that point, but that's an ugly loss. Yeah, it's going to be tough to overlook it. And in previous iterations of college football, that would have wiped them from the championship contention, but they're still there.
Let me ask you a question. The 97 Huskers, in my opinion, were unequivocally the best team that year, with all due respect to Michigan. I genuinely think that we would have beaten Michigan. Now, with all due respect to Michigan, statistically, they had the best defense in the country. They had the Heisman Trophy winner, and they had the #1 ranked strength of schedule in the entire country. But I grew up watching that Washington State team, and they barely beat that Washington State team. And any Washington State fan, including myself, will tell you there's still 2 seconds left on that clock in that Rose Bowl, but topic for another day. But I've always felt like the miracle in Missouri, the Matt Davison catch, people kind of almost equated that to a loss for Nebraska because it was a lucky bounce, although good teams make their own luck, by the way. It's funny how that works. I've always felt like people have kind of held that against the 97 Huskers through the years, whether it be pollsters that year. It almost acted like Nebraska had a loss or half a loss. And ever since then, people almost act like, 94, 95 would beat 97. Not everybody, but sometimes when I ask them, and I think it's because of that. I think the Notre Dame game with Northern Illinois, it doesn't matter what they do. That's always going to be like 2, if not 3 losses in people's eyes. Like if Notre Dame loses more than 2 games this year, they will not get in or get the benefit of the doubt. And if they lose 2 games, they're going to be like the 11th seed right in front of the G5 team. By the way, Memphis lost to Navy. So Boise State, you are the by far front runner to get that G5 spot. Your 3-point loss in Eugene to Oregon, in my eyes, helps you. Boise State, I'm rooting for you. Don't screw it up because I don't want Liberty getting in. All right, Kansas. Good Lord. Kansas loses again. They're 1-4 on the season. They were supposed to be a dark horse for the Big 12 championship. I think Jake made the comment to me during the commercial, they might get 3 wins. And that's if you're rounding up by 2 games, it looks like right now. All right, Florida State, pray for Seminole Nation. They're 1-4. SMU, who shouldn't even be a power conference team, beats them 42-16. My goodness gracious. I feel like Florida State should just forfeit the rest of the year. This is what happens when you hire a bunch of mercenaries and you have a gathering of mercenaries rather than a football team. There aren't many teams in the country more talented than Florida State. Nick Saban predicted them to win the ACC conference after watching them practice this fall. NFL scouts have talked about how there's multiple first round and second round NFL draft picks on that roster in the future. It's not for lack of talent. Mike Norvell had one good year. And everyone was like, oh, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm not pausing for effect. I'm trying to be nice. I think Mike Norvell's got a lot to prove. How about that? And I'll just leave it there. All right, Indiana. This is intriguing because I don't know if you know this. We're going to play them in a couple of weeks. Beats Maryland. This is the only team they've played so far that's an FBS team with a winning record. All right, UCLA is actually, I think, 1-4 or 2-3. But UCLA and Maryland are their two best opponents, and their combined record is 4-5. So that would make them. Let me see here. Yeah, Maryland's 3-2. So Indiana, I mean, they look dynamic on offense. Going in, I haven't looked at the updated stats, but going into last Saturday's game, they were one of only 5 teams in the country that was top 5 in offense, in scoring offense, top 5 in scoring defense. Now, they haven't been tested. They haven't played anybody. But I'm telling you right now, my former co-host for the Big Ten Conference, Rhett Lewis, is an Indiana alum. And all summer, he was working on me while we do Big Ten shows. Hey, man, they're going to be better. Hey, man, they're going to be better. And I'm like, okay. Rhett's really smart. And then I met a bunch of the Indiana guys at Big Ten Media Days, and I bought into it. I'm like, well, they're not going to suck. They might actually be above average. They look like they're definitely above average. But they haven't played anybody yet. We're going to learn a lot more about Indiana. But they beat Maryland 42-28. They put up over 500 yards of total offense. And this was really a pretty competitive game, but Indiana pulled away late to win 42-28. Utah, can't figure out Utah. Well, Cam Rising did not play. So Utah's got a true freshman at quarterback. And unlike our guy, he's not yet the strength of their team. Utah goes into Oklahoma State, who has the most experienced offensive line in the history of college football, had 10 returning starters, had the nation's best running back from a year ago coming back, and Oklahoma State's lost 2 games in a row. Just lost by, 22 points to Kansas State, who just lost by 29 points to BYU. College football is so fun. But Utah got booed at halftime by their own fans, lost 23-10 to Arizona, who I have never thought was going to be that great this year. The carousel that is the Big 12 Conference, it is the most entertaining conference to watch, ladies and gentlemen, if you just keep an eye on those teams. And like I said earlier, all of a sudden Colorado's 4-1, and if they beat Kansas State this upcoming weekend, they got them in Boulder. All of a sudden, they're a player in the Big 12. If you're a player in the Big 12, I'm with Jake. We got to fix this. The top four buys. The top 4 teams getting to buy an automatic Power 4 because there's really 2, and then another 2, and then everybody else conferences. It's really the Big 10, SEC, then Big 12, ACC, and then everybody else getting those top 4 buys, the 4 conference champs. We got to fix that. What if Colorado won the Big 12 and got like the 4 seed? I'm just saying. I'm not predicting it, by the way. But what if it happened? I just blew Jake's mind. He doesn't even know what to say.
Well, a text from Justin. He says the paperwork's already being drawn up to make Prime the next coach at Florida State if that happens, I think.
Ooh. I don't know. I think Florida State people do like Mike Norvell. I think their eyes aren't yet open like Jake and mine eyes are. Then we can be objective. Although if you could get Prime, they might make a change. All right, Utah loses, much to my surprise, to Arizona. Utah went in with a true freshman quarterback into Oklahoma State and pushed around the Cowboys. Like pushed them around the entire game. Physically manhandled them. And then go home and lose to an Arizona team that I don't think is as good. I'm starting to question Oklahoma State, though. So Oklahoma State loses 42-20 to Kansas State, who is ranked. Again, they're going to be playing Colorado this weekend. This is a big game for Colorado this upcoming weekend. I mean, this is a pretty even game, though. Oklahoma State can still play offense, but they gave up 559 yards on defense. If they could ever play defense there in Stillwater to balance out Gundy's offense, they'd be a dangerous team. And he's done really good during his tenure, 20-plus years in Oklahoma State. All right, shout out to Coach Gundy there for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. He's done a good job, but get a defensive coordinator, my man. I'm just saying. You're a good coach, good offensive mind. Get some help on defense. Hope Pelini's still out there, ain't he?
I think so.
Well, we wouldn't have to face him every year, so I could live with that. Go to Oklahoma State. He'd make them a legit contender, at least in the Big 12, year in and year out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's been your recap the top college football games this past weekend. Let's see. Already looked at the top 10. See if I have any final thoughts here. Michigan's sitting at number 10. Ooh, should they have lost to Minnesota?
I think Minnesota should have got that onside kick at least.
They should have absolutely gotten the onside kick. Yeah. Minnesota really kind of outplayed Michigan, not gargantuanly, but just by a smidge in this game. And then Minnesota scores, kicks the onside kick, gets the onside kick, and then the refs called them for offsides, and they didn't get the ball, and Michigan won the game. Michigan 10, USC 11. Notre Dame's at 14. Did Northern Illinois lose? They must have.
Yeah, they did.
They were ranked. All I see when I look at Notre Dame right now is the Huskies logo. I don't know why that is. That's a little bit unfair, talking about Northern Illinois. I'm going to let that go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we will be reacting to Matt Rhule's press conference. Don't go anywhere.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store.
The McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Man City tied Newcastle 1 apiece, Chelsea beat Brighton 4-2, and then Liverpool beat Wolves 2-1 to stay atop the week. On Sunday, Ipswich Town tied Aston Villa 2-2, and then Tottenham defeated Man United 3-0. You can catch all these matches and more at the McKinney's Irish Pub, your headquarters in Lincoln for English Premier League soccer at 8th and P.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker concrete, and Beatrice concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show, the show that gives you unique insights, unbridled honesty, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun in the process. As always, check out CarrikerChronicles.com, theticketfm.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a whole Matt Rhule press conference, easy for me to say, to react to in about 5 minutes to do so. All right. Coach Rhule has a lot of respect for Greg Schiano. The man has had success in Piscataway. Got to give Schiano respect for that. I know a lot of guys who played for him with the Giants. They didn't love him there, but they love him in New Jersey. Gunnar Gutola, left tackle, continues to get better. This is a talented freshman with a bright future on our offensive line, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Matt Rhule shouts out Rutgers coaching staff as a whole, especially the defensive line. They're physical. I don't know that they're going to impress you with their overall athleticism, but they're good D-line. They're coached really, really well. They're fundamentally sound, and they're physical. All right, linebacker Javin Wright played Saturday ahead of the goal to be back for USC. Rhule says it was a joy getting him back on the field. The more players like Javin we can get on the field, the better we're going to be, not just because of rotation and depth and keeping guys fresh. Javin's a really good football player in general. Micah Mazuka was suspended last week, available, but remains a backup. I didn't know the suspended players could just go to California. That's new and different for me, but I digress. Stephon Thompson has a sprained foot, anticipating him being back this week. And we can start getting some of these guys back and get that rotation and more good football players on the field. That's going to help a lot. Tommy Hill has a chance to play Saturday. He is our best overall corner. Zaire Wright has impressed. He's come in. He's played well. He's got a lot of energy and enthusiasm. I'm actually a big fan of Zaire, especially. I was intrigued by him when he came here because he started so many games at USC. By the way, USC's two top corners entered the transfer portal after last season, and they're somehow better on defense. That's not a jab at the two corners. I'm actually shouting out USC's new defensive coordinator that they took from UCLA. He's done a heck of a job there, but I digress. All right, Tommy Hill, if he can get on the field, gives us a lot of depth at DB this weekend with Marquise Buford, Zaire Wright, Tommy Hill. Hopefully Tommy can be healthy. All right, I love this. This may be my favorite part of the press conference today. Matt Rhule basically said he's trying to figure out what you can and can't do with officials. I think officials are trying to figure out what they can and can't do when it comes to throwing the frickin' flags. They're making college football borderline unwatchable. The officiating in college football is broken. How in the world can you be a billion-dollar defense, yet you're going to give us nickel and dime officiating? The Minnesota-Michigan call was abhorred. Miami-Virginia Tech, I don't know that it's abhorred. I do think the ACC said, hey, we need Miami to win, and I think that was the tiebreaker in their decision. You look at Illinois, Penn State, James Franklin was about to blow his top with the officials. Brett Bielema was no less upset and no more pleased than Coach Franklin was. I mean, it's just abhorred. Even Kirby Smart talked about how Georgia has way more penalties this year than they've ever had. And then he said, it's not just us, it's everybody. Tua Tagovailoa took another severe hit a couple of weeks ago. And I think the powers that be in football across the board freaked out. And they said, moms aren't going to let kids play. The future of our sport is in trouble, so we got to crack down on everything. Just a theory. You know me, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Or sometimes 2 + 2 just equals 4, whether you want it to equal 5. All right. The intensity of Alex Bullock blocking on the edge and preparing for teams, making some changes. They've got to get better on special teams. All right, shame of special teams is the front and center conversation of field goals while Brian Buschini has played so well. You know what? Matt Rhule is very good at misdirection and redirecting where people focus. Brian Buschini has played well. He wants to take the focus off the rest of the abhorrent special teams. Hey, if I'm the head coach, I'd be taking the same approach. It doesn't change how bad the rest of special teams are. All right, expected to be better at turnover margin this year, Rhule said, but didn't quite anticipate being so explosive. I mean, we've got athletes at wide receiver. We got big guys, and we got a guy at quarterback with a big arm. You got big targets at tight end. I'm actually not surprised we're this explosive. I wish we'd be more consistent. And I wish we'd run the ball better. And guess what? If we did that, we'd be even more explosive because then the defense would be off balance. All right, Rhule said exceeding expectations with getting the ball to a number of different playmakers. We got a lot of guys with ability and speed, from Ja'Cory Barney to Jalen Lloyd to Isaiah Nayor to Jamal Banks to the 4 running backs we got to the 2 tight ends we got. I tried to cut it short. I didn't want to name everybody. We're short on time here. Rutgers doesn't give up explosive plays, makes you earn it. Rutgers is like Iowa, except they might actually score more points, but they're not quite as good on defense. But they're going to play you like Iowa. They're not going to beat themselves. They're going to be physical. They're going to be fundamentally sound, and you're going to have to out-football them. Rutgers is going to be tough. I'll give my prediction for that game later this week. Scoring in the red zone and getting the tough yards will be key. This is where if it's 3rd or 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and if it's not a 29-yard field goal or less, we just need to go for it. Those are my humble thoughts. Can we line up and knock you back and get the yard? That's what Matt Rhule said going into this week. It's going to be huge. I couldn't agree more, and up until now, we've not been able to do it. If we could start doing it this week and do it against Rutgers, man, I'd sure be happy about that. Last week wasn't the field goal protection team. It was all the snapper. Wow. All the snapper, he said. All the snapper. I've never seen a college football team rotate snappers so much, by the way. Not panicking on special teams, just have to do what they know they need to do. Sometimes it is that simple. Football is an uber complex game. It's the most physical, violent game of chess on planet Earth. But sometimes it just is that simple. Making the snaps and kicks in practice, expecting to do the same in games. It's a little bit different when you got 80, 90 of your buddies watching versus 90+ thousand people, plus a whole lot of people on television. I've seen a lot of practice All-Americans that disappear on game day. All that matters is what, I don't want to say all that matters. All that people remember is what you do on game day. Now, what you do on game day is dictated by what you do in practice, but you got to carry it over to the game. Rutgers is going to come after punts and kicks. They have a history of getting blocks. Yes, they do. Some guys play football because they're talented. Some guys play football because they're football players. Zaire Wright is a football guy, according to Matt Rhule. I just got done singing Zaire's praises. I love his attitude. I love his effort. I love his energy. Coaching Dylan Raiola and Daniel Kalen now as if they were juniors. Dylan can do really high-level stuff, so the system he's working with is high-level. Elite preparation by quarterback QB1 and a humble confidence, talking about Dylan Raiola from Matt Rhule. And I've said this here before, but Matt Rhule's looked at me and said Daniel Kalen's an NFL quarterback one day. They think highly of a lot of players on this team and quarterbacks in that room, but in particular those two. Everyone on the team is growing and figuring out how to have success and what needs to be done, and would like to get Emmett Johnson more involved. How about we start him? Just a thought. Still thinks there's a rhythm to the running back rotation. Yeah, don't do it with 4 guys and then let the wide receiver be your leading rusher. Again, we won the game. I want to reiterate that. All right, tackling. Dante Dowdell is hard to tackle. I still think Emmett Johnson should be the starter, as talented and hard to tackle as Dante Dowdell is. Power running from Dowdell early sets up Emmett and Ramir Johnson later. That's according to Matt Rhule. How about we start Emmett Johnson and then bring in the battering ram once the defense is a little worn out? Just a thought. Gabe Ervin is getting his swagger back. Ooh, I love to hear that. Have 4 running backs they like. Rutgers has 2 really good running backs. Rutgers is a difficult run game for Nebraska because they're physical. They're not fancy. They're not fancy smancy. They're blue collar, in your face, smash mouth. They play like a more talented team than they actually are because they're physical and they're well coached. All right, Rutgers is a difficult run game for Nebraska because they're physical. John Bullock is still a young player in terms of his development as a linebacker. Constant search for improvement. All right. Excited to have Ndamukong Suh back this weekend. His dominance as a player is remembered to this day. Great for players to be the best. Great for players to see the best days of their lives are not their recruiting rankings or where they get drafted. Each thing should be better than the last. In other words, what you do on the field matters the most. Once you get to the facility, to the building, you step your foot on the turf, that's what matters the most, and that's what you'll remember the longest. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's been your reaction to the Matt Rhule press conference. Jake, you got any quick final thoughts?
No, it's like you said, I think part of it's just deflecting attention. But again, it's all interesting this week because they did win, and we're somewhat upset.
Un poquito, but I'm pretty happy. We're 4-1. Yeah. I know it doesn't sound like I'm happy, but I'm really happy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a phenomenal day. We'll see you tomorrow. Go Big Red, and always remember to throw the bone.
Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great size